there is a silent epidemic no one dares to name. An epidemic not of disease, but of depletion. Men reduced to hollow vessels by their own compulsions, not by force, by invitation, by their own fingertips. The great lie whispered to them is this: if you desire, you must release. If you feel lust, you must satisfy it. But what if that is a misdirection? What if the very thing that enslaves you could be reforged into the very thing that empowers you? You stand on the threshold of that revelation. Now listen, and listen fully. For what you are about to learn is not spoken in the world of the comfortable. It belongs to those who seek domination and self-mastery. Part 1. The true nature of lust. To understand transmutation, you must first confront lust for what it truly is. Lust is not simply a sexual urge. That is its most primitive expression. At its core, lust is concentrated life force. It is a biological hunger tied directly to your survival imperative, not only to reproduce, but to expand, to conquer, to assert dominance over your environment. It is the ancestral drive that once compelled your forebears to hunt, to battle, to build empires, to seize mates and territory. Lust, then, is not inherently corrupt. It is a form of raw, undirected energy. But like any unrefined energy, it is chaotic when left unmanaged. If the modern man faces a crisis, it is not that he possesses too much lust. It is that his lust has been severed from purpose, siphoned into endless avenues of instant gratification, where the natural drive to ascend is redirected into digital illusions and private compulsions. The consequence is depletion. Not physical exhaustion alone, but the atrophy of will, ambition, aggression, and masculine vitality. What should have fueled his empire instead feeds his addiction. Part 2. The biological cost of release. There is a measurable cost every time this energy is expelled aimlessly. And make no mistake, it is energy, vital, volatile, and limited. You are not simply relieving tension. You are triggering a biochemical chain reaction embedded deep within your evolutionary code, one that was never designed for the artificial flood you now command at will. Dopamine, prolactin, oxytocin. A triad of neurochemical signals surge through your system. In the primal language of biology, these substances whisper a dangerous lie to your subconscious. The mission is complete. The objective has been fulfilled. You may now rest. But this rest is unearned. This mission is fabricated. No mate was secured, no offspring conceived, no threat overcome, no legacy forged. Your empire remains unbuilt, but your biology believes otherwise. What's worse, the brain cannot distinguish between simulation and reality. The pixel and the person, to the ancient circuits in your skull, they are one and the same. So while the satisfaction only feels real, the depletion is actually real. Your fire, having been coaxed to life, is extinguished by illusion. And because the reward is counterfeit, the cycle renews. The pleasure fades, and the emptiness returns. You chase it again and again and again until it becomes ritual. Part 3. Transmutation, the doctrine of conversion. The solution is not abstinence for its own sake. This is not about moral purity, nor guilt, nor shame. The path forward is far more strategic and far more ancient. It is transmutation, the disciplined redirection of primal energy toward higher aims, an internal alchemy, the art of taking what once ruled you and refining it into a weapon that serves you. To transmute lust is to interrupt the automatic reflex, to pause when the surge arises and reinterpret it not as a craving to be indulged, but as raw material for something greater. It is the difference between the man who wastes his seed and the man who plants it. Under transmutation, lust becomes fuel, not for pleasure, but for power. It feeds discipline, the kind forged in sweat, pain, and repetition. That surge of tension you once wasted becomes a spark behind every lift, every cold plunge, every early morning. It sharpens ambition, the hunger to build, not consume. Instead of chasing false intimacy, you pursue mastery. Business, creation, empire. Your legacy begins where your indulgence ends. It strengthens mental clarity, because nothing focuses the mind like withheld desire. You learn to sit with pressure, to think through chaos, to outlast the urge, and in doing so, you become psychologically unshakable. You begin to radiate something others cannot name. Your eyes hold intensity. Your voice carries weight, not because you're putting on a performance, but because you're carrying unspent fire. You are not rejecting lust, but merely reassigning it. Part 4, the psychological transformation. There is a secondary transformation that occurs when lust is transmuted consistently. The man who masters this process undergoes profound psychological shifts. Delayed gratification strengthens neural pathways of patience and fortitude. Self-control increases personal confidence and stability. Social interactions shift as you no longer project subtle signals of desperation or depletion. Presence intensifies. You carry tension, not as anxiety, but as restrained force. This is why those who practice transmutation develop what can only be described as presence. Their gaze penetrates, their voice carries weight, their movements are deliberate. Not because they are pretending, but because they are charged with unspent energy that others instinctively recognize. Most cannot name the source of power when they encounter it, but they feel it, because it is rare. Part 5, the Sith principle of control. In the philosophy you seek to master, there is no virtue in weakness disguised as morality. There is only mastery of force, internal and external. Lust is not your adversary, nor is it your friend. It is a current of power, neutral until directed. The weak man obeys it. The deluded man fears it. The sovereign man commands it. As it is said, through passion I gain strength. Through strength I gain power. But power is not acquired by surrendering to every surge of passion. It is acquired by compressing that passion into concentrated force, wielded when it serves your ascent. Transmutation is not repression. It is reallocation. You are not less of a man for denying your impulse. You are becoming more. Most will not do this. They will remain trapped in the cycle, drained and confused, wondering why their hunger never leads them forward. You now know the path beyond that cycle. The question is whether you will walk it.